Well, good morning, folks. Welcome to another of our devotions. We're in Psalm 34, and we're going to be thinking of verses 4 and following this morning. Notice how David describes both the circumstances he was facing and also how he felt as he was going through these experiences in life. In verse 6, he speaks about his troubles. This is a general word. It can be used for any and every hardship that a person may have to face in life. It envisages those times in life when the dark clouds of God's providence are not only overhead, but seem to envelop us so that we can hardly see the way ahead. How did David feel when he was going through these troubles? Well, in verse 4, he speaks about all his fears. He was fearful. Now, we know his troubles were on account of Saul's pursuit of him and Saul's intentions to kill David. On top of this, being in Philistine territory, indeed being in the home city of Goliath, whom David had slain, he also felt very much threatened by the people of Gath and the king of Gath. David was afraid. In fact, the word fear is in the plural there, and it indicates an intensity of fears. So what did David do? Well, we know that initially he tried to sort out his own problem. He did that by feigning madness before the king. However, he came to realize that self-help was not the solution to his problems. And he does what he should have done. He turns to God for help. I sought the Lord, and he heard me. I sought the Lord. I'm sure that, like myself, you've found yourself facing circumstances that have been extremely vexing, circumstances that have filled you perhaps with fear and dread. Usually that fear and dread is rooted in our inability to resolve the situation, our inability to know how this is going to work out in the future. And we tend to imagine all kinds of worst case scenarios where we end up being devastated. We can hardly imagine in the midst of the trouble that the sunshine will shine again through the darkness of the clouds. Of course, we shouldn't seek self-help solutions as the primary means of deliverance. Instead, our first port of call should be God. We should do what David did. I sought the Lord. And just as David discovered that having gone to God, God brought deliverance, so too we will discover that God in his own way and in his own time will also bring us through our troubles. He will take away our fears and enable us to cope with the troubles that we're facing until such times as he deems it fit for those troubles to pass. In verse 7, David says, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. The angel of the Lord, of course, in the Old Testament is a reference very often to the Lord Jesus before his incarnation in the second person of the Trinity. And the language here is that of looking to and relying on one's protector, one who watches over and preserves and keeps safe. Like Elisha, you remember how the multitude of soldiers, the lords of hosts, were surrounding him, and he was able to see that, but his servant wasn't. By faith, Elijah knew that there were powers at work beyond that which is seen with the naked eye. And Elisha took comfort from the truth that higher agencies and powers were at work in his life and circumstances than others realised. We too, like David, in times of trouble, should seek help from God as we face our troubles. And we should seek God to take away our fears. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him from all of his trouble. And whatever trouble you may be facing, either now or in the future, remember, first and foremost, bring those things to the Lord. I trust you have a blessed Sabbath day and a good weekend. Every blessing.